What's up? It's Tuesday, February 7th. No idea, once again, when this video is gonna come out. Here's a quick update of where I am so far. I've acquired a notebook to actually write down these songs in. I've got, let's say, 5 songs that I really have a good idea of where they're going. Some of them are finished. Some of them they need like a couple extra words or like a chorus or a bridge or something. But in this video, I'm gonna talk about lyric writing problems. So you're writing a song and you have a bunch of cool lyric ideas. You have a good chord progression going. You kind of know where the melody is going, but you don't really have all the words put together. You just have a bunch of ideas. This is something that happens to me frequently, and I'm gonna kind of just talk about how I work through that. I have a pet peeve when I'm listening to songs, and when it feels like the lyrics were just kind of thrown in there, it kind of bugs me. There's a couple like sorority noise songs that give that vibe. I do really love modern baseball, but a lot of sometimes modern baseball songs will feel like they just threw lyrics in there without really thinking about it. And I like to put my best effort into making sure the words fit into the song in a pleasing way. So something that really helps me out when I'm trying to put together a song and I don't really know how to assemble the lyrics, what order to put them in or how to say things. I just take all the lyric ideas that I have, all the like weird metaphors that I thought of, all the cool hooks and rhymes that I thought of, all the autobiographical stories and memories that I'm gonna reference in the song, and I just write them all down. Actually, for this song Guest Check that I'm gonna demo at the end of this video, I didn't write them all down. I just did this all in my head. But it helps a lot if you can write it down. A lot of them won't be used. Some of them you won't figure out how to put it into the song in a way that makes sense. But just to have all your ideas out where you can look at them and think about them is helpful. So once you've like written down all your ideas, you can calm down and stop thinking of more ideas. So you have enough material to make a song. You've just got to sit down and figure out how to make it into a song. So what I do next is try to figure out which lyrics are solid, concrete, narrative, like physically describing something or explaining, here's what happened. And then the other kind of lyrics would be figurative metaphor lyrics that are trying to communicate a feeling or describe it in a way that is non-literal. I think the best lyricism, or I should say the lyricism that has the most potential to connect, is the kind of lyricism that very efficiently and intuitively kind of navigates between here's what happened, here's how it felt, here's what happened, here's a metaphor, to kind of keep people thinking and imagining while they're listening to your song, but then also guiding them through the story that you're telling them. So you've got all your literal concrete ideas, and you've got all your figurative ideas, your metaphors and feelings and stuff. There's also a third kind of type of lyric that at least in my brain, a third type of lyric that's just like a hook. It is important to acknowledge and identify which lyrics in your song are going to be the ones that stick with people or stand out the most or grab their attention the most. If you thought of a couple lines and you're like, whoa, I need to put those lines into a song. For example, my band Daddy and the Long Legs has a song out called Smoke Breaks. The part of that song that goes, hey Marco, since when were you a smoker? Since the day I gave up and decided to fuck myself over. I had thought of that hook a long time before I wrote the rest of the song. So you've got your literal ideas, you've got your figurative ideas, you've got your hooks if you have any. Now, I personally care a lot about making sure a song lyrically flows well and nothing stands out or sounds weird. So one of the things I would do from here is to take all your lyric ideas and figure out where the rhymes are. If you already have some rhymes, cool. You may need to jimmy the words around to make them fit into the melody that you have if you already have a melody for the song. So for this song, I already had a chord structure and a melody that I thought was cool, and I just needed to fill it with words. So I could take the lyric ideas that I have and adjust the words or adjust the phrasing to make sure that it flows well. And that works for lyrics that you already kind of have chunks of. If you got like 3 or 4 lines, you can just do that and then you got a verse. But some lyric ideas are small. They're like 3 or 4 words, or they're like 1 line and you're not sure how to work it into a song. So you take those ones, the kind of straggler lines, compare them to each other, compare them to the other lyric chunks that are pretty fleshed out already, and you see where the connections are. Does it make sense to introduce B idea after A idea? If you think that would flow well as a story, then consider putting those lyrics together. Or if you're thinking, well, B would make sense coming after A, but B is a really good lyric and I want to put it somewhere else in the song where it'll grab more attention, Something like that. Nothing is sacred. You might rearrange this entire song and it will look totally different from how you first started. So you keep connecting dots, either finding rhymes or taking lines that kind of fit together and then rewording them so that they rhyme or that they flow or that there is something catchy about it. And once you've kind of connected enough dots and you feel like you've told the whole story or enough of the story to communicate it well, then if you've got lines or ideas or metaphors left over that you haven't really put into the song yet, don't feel pressured to stick them in there. If you've got a song that tells a complete idea, then there's no reason to kind of squeeze everything else in there. You can save them for later songs that you're writing. You can just hold on to them and let them grow into their own songs. Especially for like one-liners and like cool hooks and metaphors and stuff, just stick those in your back pocket. You'll use them eventually and make a really good song. I would recommend against trying to put as much lyrical content into a song as possible. Sometimes it's important to sit down and think, does the audience really need to hear all of this? Do I need to tell them every one of these words? If not, then just don't put it in the song. If the song feels complete, then just let it be. Rest assured that your audience will relate to you, even if you don't tell them every little thing about it. And I think a lot of beginning songwriters, they just want to tell the whole story and say everything that happened because it's emotional for them. They are trying to work through that. And for me as well, this is a method of coping with my feelings. But from a technical songwriting standpoint, you don't need to say everything for the song to make sense to somebody. And I think that's important to acknowledge. So anyway, I've been talking for 16 fucking minutes. I'm gonna play you this song, talk a little bit about how I came up with the chords and stuff, and I hope you enjoy it. Oh my god. This is a song called Guest Check. The first couple lyrics will explain to you why it's called that. So like almost always, I started the song off with a pretty simple chord progression in 6/8. I always feel insecure and self-conscious when I write a song that's just a chord progression. So, I was trying to mix it up. I thought, I've never really done anything with weird time signatures. What if I wrote a chord/riff thing that has a measure in 6/8 and then a measure in 5/8? So this is what that sounded like. But that's like impossible to write words to. I started writing words to it in 6/8, 5/8, but it's just impossible. 6/8 is like a fun timing to write words to. So I just have that riff, then the rest of it's in 6/8. I took this song on a test drive at a house show last night, and I basically just played A, B minor, D, E forever. And that also is something I'd rather not do. I want to make sure there's at least one other chord progression so that the song feels like it changes, and has movement. So I was just sitting there trying to figure out what other chords would make sense with the words that I've already written. There are a couple sections of words that feel like they could be a different mood or section or pacing or whatever. I could just play them to that chord progression, but I feel like I should take the opportunity to come up with something else for them so that the song feels more varied and dynamic. So a simple thing to do would just be go back down to D here after going A, B minor, D, E, and I could just go D. Here's what I ended up coming up with. It's basically the same thing as the first one, just in reverse. So I'm gonna go A to B minor to D to E, and then just back down to D, and then C sharp minor, and down one more to B minor, and then A. Easy. It's just down the scale, back down to A. But I think it works, and I think it works with the words. Hopefully I can play this song. It's called Guest Check. Wrote this song on the guest check at work. As you walk in through the door on my first night shift in months, I guess I was just unprepared. When you pass by the cash register, we trade glances, hardly saying a word, but your look, that split second, the blacks of our eyes meet, could rip me in half where I stand. It reminds me the first time I saw you, asleep at your desk. Should've woken you up. What if that's how we met? But how fitting, I didn't. Just packed up and left you, a stranger asleep at her desk. And again on the stairs at your choir recital, you call out my name and I turn and you smile. And then in my room, so scared I would bore you, you mumbled, it's fine cause I fucking adore you. Could have killed me to hear you say, and if it actually did, and if that were the last thought to run through my brain before dying, I wouldn't complain. Yeah, so that's that. Stay tuned for the next one. Peace out.